Ding, there we are, the final slap. We're back. Road to the Title 3, episode number 3. Officially a quarter of the way through. We had 3 matchups on tap. And, definitely a bunch of barn burners in this one. Some different cats. Dana was going crazy. Didn't get too much curricular in the house this time around. Just keep on bringing it up there on stage. I know we talked a little bit, before we came on the show. But how impressed are you with the talent that they've assembled here for season 3?
You know what, man? I'm impressed that with the way that these guys have evolved, we're seeing less fouls. Of course, the flinching fouls, which we'll talk about in a minute, that was an interesting one. But again, I just think from an entry level, a lot of these guys who have never been in this thing before, even competed in this sport at all, are really coming in with a lot more talent, and I'm very, very impressed. For a lot of different reasons. But I know, there's some guys that have been around a while that really prefer, that these matches go clean. And so to be able to see that this is happening even for guys who are just entering the sport is awesome. And like you said, I think the talent is doing really well. Not a lot of extracurricular stuff. I think that's par for the course when you have 3 fights that's just squeezing in 32-ish minutes. Like I said, when you have the 2 fights on an episode, which you will, I anticipate that's when you'll start to see some of those fights that we saw on the trailer early on.
Yeah, and we're starting to see the momentum build as well. I seen it get to 7,200 live viewers at one point, higher than we've seen in any of the first 2 episodes. So I think that's great to see. The momentum is starting to build. The first time we get 2 middleweight matches and we get 1 heavyweight match this time around. So we're getting out of the lightweight tournament for these qualifier matches to get into the house. But we're going to bring in some OGs this time to break down. And so we're going to bring in Mr. Ron, Wolverine Beta.
How's it going,
bro?
Are
you sure that's Wolverine? What's up, buddy? You look great, man. This is very different.
Not much. It was by accident, but yeah. So I figured my next matchup, I'll be clean shaved, but I figured I'd go ahead and come on here with y'all and show everybody.
Dude, I gotta ask you, how does it become an accident? And 2, I know someone at Leaf Trading Card that would have loved that beard to embed those into the trading cards. You should have saved some of that because there's a lot of history in that beard.
There was. The accident, I'm not an electrical person, and the hot water heater wire kind of blew up in my face and burned quite a bit of the hair, so I just... Yeah.
Crazy.
That is quite the story.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So you the new fresh baby-faced Ron. Can we change your nickname at the same time?
Oh man, I don't want to. I prefer to still keep the same one. I'll grow the beard back.
Okay. Awesome, my man. Let's talk about it right off the top. Season 3, Road to the Title. What's your overall thoughts on the first 3 episodes?
The competitors are real good. Probably some of the better competitors that we've seen so far in the first 2 seasons. As y'all have already mentioned, I mean, there's less fouls. I mean, there's flinching, but you got to expect that with new people coming into the sport. You're about to stand there and get hit. But I mean, you're not seeing too many clubs. You're not seeing a lot of stepping fouls. So overall, I mean, I like the competition so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, great to hear, man. We haven't seen anybody in the light heavyweight division yet, but this time we had 2 middleweights, and we even had a heavyweight match between. Who do we have the heavyweight? We got Blake Howard and Mark Chambers. Obviously, we know the outcome of that. What do you think of Blake being someone in a similar situation as you? 228. Could you see him having a future at light heavy dropping down? Because I know you were somewhere in that same type of range, 226, 228, and inevitably you went down to the 205.
Yeah, I mean, because you're going to go up against people, that are 250, 260, and I mean, nobody wants to admit they're overmatched, but I mean, you're going to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just dropped 20 pounds and came down to light heavyweight after the season's over or something like that.
Absolutely. Let's bring in the heavyweight champion, Mr. Damien DeBell.
Hey, what's going on?
Really good. How about yourself?
I've been chilling.
Awesome, man. So we've got the original heavyweight champion. We've got the current heavyweight champion here on Slap News. Excited to have you. What do you think of this whole thing, DeBell, and the way that they're using this as a recruiting tool to get the best athletes into Power Slap? Are you a fan of it? I mean, I know you weren't in the house, but you were there as a coach. Now we've seen it 3 seasons long. Dana talks very highly about it, but what's your personal opinion?
Honestly, I think it's great. We're seeing the level of talent coming in improve a lot. So, and we've seen, even it gives a commission and the refs a chance to go over rules, really plan out what they're doing during the live events, and take those practice runs to really figure out what they're doing wrong or what they're doing right, and really hone in on how the live event should look.
What's your first take? Look at Blake Howard and Mark Chambers. What do you think of those two guys?
I mean, it was a pretty all right fight. Blake got a good knockout, but being on the lighter side of the heavyweight division, I'd probably like to see him drop down to light heavyweight. Feel like he'd do a lot better down there. We just got some beasts with a lot of weight. A lot of guys cut down to fight at heavyweight, so I think it'd just be in his best interest to drop down to light heavyweight and really see what he could do in that division first.
Gotcha. Ding, do we have the fight footage ready for that yet? Are we still waiting?
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Let me just
let's play it then. Well, as he's getting ready for that, let's actually talk about it, because we've seen at the very end, James Stonier versus Cody Harasnik, 2 guys that we've seen before. How exciting is that for next week? Because that probably got to be the most excited of anything up until this point for the show.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited to see, finally Stonier get another chance to, get his title run started. And I just like to see these, more mid-ranked guys get their chances to, fight their way to the top, because there's been an issue with a lot of heavyweights just been, stuck sitting there waiting for opportunity. So I'm glad to see they're bringing them more often into the show.
What do you think, Ron?
I'm excited. I mean, I like Sass Billy, so I thought he was, he was doing real great. He had a setback, but yeah, I'd like to see him get back to doing great again. And I think we'll get to see that next week, and maybe one day we'll see him against the bell.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys give us any insight into Cody Harasnik? Because we really didn't see him. I mean, we've seen him at the trials. We see him a little bit on TV. We didn't get to really deep dive too much into him. Do you guys have any insight, being there actually both as coaches on the same team for season 1?
I honestly could not tell you.
Okay.
All
right. Well, then head over to Slap News, because we did interview him at UFCX back in July. So there's an interview up there if you want to check out Cody.
All right, let's run this fight footage. What do you say? All right. So yep, like you guys said, Blake Howard coming in 228. You won't be able to hear audio on this. Let's see here. Powerful shot, obviously puts him down. I mean, what do you guys think about his body language? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say my part just yet, but what did you think he looked like to you when you saw him up there? Like, does he really look like he wants to be there?
Nah, honestly, it feels like Chambers this really just ate for him. Like Turbin said it. I don't know if it was joking or what. Talking about his own fighter like that, but
nah, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke.
It was rude as hell when I heard that shit, but he really didn't look like he was built for that stage. And Blake seemed real comfortable up there.
Ron, I know Turpin's not your favorite person, but what do you think about Mark Chambers?
Man, I mean, just like the bell said, and I mean, just like you said about Turpin, I mean, they both said it. He didn't look comfortable up there. I mean, he did at first, but I mean, once that initial hit came, I mean, even for his smack, I mean, he was all over the place. He's not 100% committed. I mean, Turpin's sitting there talking to him now, and you can just tell he looks like he's ready to be gone. I mean, I don't mean no offense to the guy, but I mean, not everybody's built to just stand there and take a hit after hit. So,
Yeah, I think it was interesting. Actually, they called that a club right off the bat in round one, especially high like that. We don't see that always called.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
kind of throws the towel in here. Like you see him put his head down. I think like he was just like, yeah, you know what, forget it. Um, I have an interesting question. When you have a guy like Blake Howard who he technically absorbs a strike, but it's that kind of strike from a guy like that. It's also a foul. Do you think it sort of lulls him into a false sense of what a strike is going to be like the next time he gets hit? Like, do you think it's kind of like he shouldn't really even think anything of that strike, being that it was what it was from a guy that it looked like he didn't have a ton of power on him?
Honestly, I think so. And I mean, I feel like it's just a common thing for any fighter going into a match thinking, you know, going off of footage is hard in power slap because every fighter hits differently. So it could be different. It's a long time between events too. You got months to change up at something, change up your technique. So it's really hard to base it off of one fight from another. But especially in circumstances like that, just fighting in the show in general, you can't base your next couple fights based on how that felt. Like it's going to be a whole new experience every time you go out there.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I thought it was interesting at the very end. I don't know if you guys caught that, but didn't you see Mark Smith fixing the podium? I'm
Yeah,
actually curious.
I saw
I'd like to actually see how that whole thing happened because how did the podium break on Blake Howard's side?
Bro, who knows, man?
I think we'll be able to ask him. I think we'll be able to ask Blake in a minute.
Oh,
Awesome. Ron, so we just seen that fight footage. We talked about Mark, obviously. Blake and Mark in this match. Do you almost think it's kind of like reminiscent a little bit of kind of Kalani and Cody Vallo in that first match? Because I think in a lot of ways, Vallo came in, made Vallo came in and Kalani made a big statement on him on that first one. Do you kind of see the same thing with Blake?
I do. I mean, because he came in against somebody who, he came in against somebody who wasn't really quite mentally prepared. And hopefully it just doesn't go to you. Hopefully you think that there is going to be a tougher match out there. I don't want, nobody, I wouldn't want my guys thinking that that's going to be, that's it. That's the toughest you're going to see. So, and that you're going to breeze through the rest of the competition. Because, just like that matchup with Kalani, I mean, he found out that the next matchup was quite harder for him than it was against Cody.
Yeah. How much do you guys think we can look into for slap score? Like, do we think there's enough evidence, enough matches out there to start drawing correlations, or is it still just too early?
I think it's too early. There's so much that goes into it that I don't think you could put a numerical value to it. Like you could try your best based off of stats, but I don't really think the stat score is the main thing you should be going off of.
Ron, what's your thoughts?
I agree with DeBell. I mean, people, for slap score, they pick up, a couple different numbers. And, you don't know if they're hitting it the right way to get, some of the scores. You don't know if they're trying to tweak something just to get a higher score. So, you just can't go off of that specific number. And it don't help with, the defensive part. You don't know if somebody's chin's there. So, slap score could mean nothing if you go against somebody like DeBell who will just eat everything you throw at him.
You guys have been there, OGs, almost pretty much from day one. I think back to 2017, 2018, kind of for you guys. Is there any metric or anything that you think you can quantify? If we talk from a handicapping or a sports betting type of way, is there a better metric to evaluate these guys other than the slap score?
If I had to choose, if I had to create a method that I thought would fit best, the only metrics you could really go off of are power. That's really the only thing that I feel like you could for certain say will help judge who's a better competitor in certain circumstances. But chin plays such a strong role in it, and your chin could change depending on the day. So I don't really think there's any number that you could just pull out from measuring somebody to tell if they're going to be good at power slap. or even used in a betting sense. I think just records and experience are your best thing to go off of.
What do you think, Ron? Do you agree?
I agree with him. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can go off of power, which, I mean, works for some people, but then you got to go off of the chin too, which, I mean, as the Bill just said, I mean, goes away. I mean, I know lately my chin ain't been what it used to be. So, I mean, as the Bill just mentioned, I mean, your chin can, you know, dwindle away over time. And I mean, that will affect the betting odds and stuff like that. So you don't want to put that number on there if, you know, you got a guy who's on the way down.
Yeah. One last one for me. What do you guys think about the fighters not knowing who won the coin toss until they get up there on stage? Is that something that you guys would like? Is it something that you would welcome? Or, I mean, I know there was a theory floating around before that the champion would strike first at one point. I know it never got into the rule books, but like, what do you guys kind of think about that whole idea of how the evolution of the coin toss has evolved for, you know, this part of the show so far?
Honestly, I'd prefer just the coin toss to happen on the stage. I've heard a lot of people suggest that. I think it'd be a lot more entertaining to see the actual reaction of these guys' faces, like have a camera right there, seeing how they react to either going second or going first. You know, I feel like you could tell a lot by a person by seeing their reaction to losing that coin toss or to winning that coin toss. So I'd love to see that aspect put into Power Step in the future.
Ron, is a little bit more gamesmanship, you think?
I mean, I like that idea about seeing it on stage in person. I mean, I know they got to do it early for the betting odds, but I also like the fact of, you know, champions going first. I mean, there's a reason you're the champion. You've already proved yourself. I mean, it's up to the competitor, you know, the challenger to prove himself. I mean, he's got to be able to take one from the champ. If he can't take it, then, I mean, why should the champ just be, you know, it could be a bad day for him and he just happened to get a lucky strike in and the champ loses without actually proving why he's the champ.
I hear from you. I mean, both valid points for sure. You know, if you guys want to stick around, we can bring you back on. I think we've got Blake waiting in the wings, so it's up to you guys. You want to stick around? If not, we appreciate you guys both joining us. Great catching up with you guys. I know we haven't seen you from a little bit, and hopefully we'll see you back up there on stage really soon defending your belt. And we hope both you guys are staying well, staying healthy. Hope the family is good, and you guys are just, you know, waiting there patiently until you get that opportunity to show off your skill set once again.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having us on, man.
Thanks, fellas.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, let's go, Ding. Do we have Blake ready?
Blake Howard, come on down. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How are you guys?
Doing good, Blake. How about yourself?
Oh, man, hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
All right, man. Right off the bat, you're a heavyweight. You got to turn your camera sideways. We got to see how big you are. You're looking like a lightweight sitting there in portrait mode. There we go. That? Looking better already.
Move some of this stuff. I just moved, man. So got very little going on here.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, congratulations right off the bat. An impressive way to make your Power Slap debut. Right from the get-go, let's talk about it. At the weigh-ins, I mean, you seem very calm, collected, confident the entire way through. What gave you that, what gave you that motivation and that determination that you knew that it was going to go down the way that you wanted to that night?
Well, man, first of all, dude, I reached out to a, this thing, not even knowing that I would come into something like this, man. And it is a blessing for sure. But, having my family behind my back and my wonderful fiance and the kids, man, they're everything to me. And so it was just cool having this experience and like letting the kids see this and let them know that I still got it, even being an old man. So.
Awesome, man. I mean, 30 years old. You're not that old yet. But it was funny, man. Just the way that they put it together, I think was kind of poetic justice. We seen Stevie Ray go up there in Austin talk about him being in, coming out of the mental institute. Then you come on talking about working in the mental institute. Let's talk about that background a little bit. Do you think? I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of shit in your day, for a lack of a better term. But do you think that kind of helped you prepare yourself for this?
In a sense, maybe, I've always had this mindset of, man, it could be crazier, or man, it could get worse. But, I think that's just being a little optimistic. However, sometimes you got to live life that way, man, or else you'd be a miserable person. But, I mentally prepare myself just in my own ways and motivation of my family and trying new things and doing new things, man. I was very comfortable and I knew what I could bring to the table, even as a small heavyweight, but, I do agree. I think I should drop down to the light heavyweight, right there, man, just cause, I know what power I can bring in and, the weight I can lose now, man. I was actually trying to get down to light heavyweight and, they asked me to, and I went down from 260 pounds all the way to 228 in like 3 short weeks. I just hit a plateau, couldn't stop, couldn't lose any more weight there for a minute. So, but we're working on it, man. I'm ready for more.
Yeah, Blake, on that subject, I did want to ask, what was it like for you sitting? Obviously, I'm breaking the fourth wall a little bit here for chat, so you guys will have to indulge me. But sitting in the wings and watching the current light heavyweight champion and former heavyweight champion and the current heavyweight champion, guys who have been here since Power Slap, since day one, coach, assistant coach on season 1. Obviously, both of them storied history in the sport of slap fighting. What was that like listening to those guys kind of, talk about your fight, watch your fight, talk us through it, and kind of give you your flowers?
Man, I love to hear it. I love to hear it, dude. I love being the underdog. I mean, even to them in any ways, but, not knowing, I mean, I came into this fight knowing that Mark just wasn't meant to be there, although the kid's he's a tank, but he just, he didn't seem very comfortable there. I want to take it to the next level, man. I want to be up there with the best of the best, and I'm willing to take them on the chin anytime. And, I can prove that I got one, so, I'm ready for some more, dude. I'm ready to prove that I'm up there with the big dogs, and, I could take them out in any heavy or, in any weight class as far as light heavyweight and heavyweight goes, man. I know that they say it's different when you take them on the chin like that, but I've prepared myself in ways my whole life maybe on the wrong end at some points, but, now I'm here with a purpose.
Yeah, and then on the subject of getting smacked or slapped, whatever you want to call it, you revealed on the show that you don't have teeth. Right. I don't know if that's both top and bottom. You pulled out your top denture.
Yeah.
Does that have any effect? Is there any concern with that being, when you're getting hit? Is there concern that it'll get unseated or anything like that?
No, man. Honestly, everybody's asking me, hey, are you going to wear them while you're up there? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. They're my teeth. But no, man, I mean, as hard as we're biting down up there to keep that jaw clenched, dude, they ain't going nowhere. And, I'd like to see the day someone can slap them out of my face. I think that'd be neat to me, to be honest with you.
Leave trading cards.
Yeah.
But final one for me before I turn it back over to Corey. I'm sorry, brother.
No problem.
I talked about this when you were in the wings, and you may have heard it. He hit you, of course. He clubbed. It didn't look like there was much on the strike. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like you, at that point in time, obviously you can't tell us what happens to the rest of the show, but in that point in time, do you feel like you have been hit before, or do you kind of like negate that hit? You're like, this is not really what it's going to feel like. This is a special circumstance.
Correct. Well, yeah, man, that is how I feel. Like this isn't how it's supposed to be. That hit I took was, it was easy to absorb. I don't expect that with the other ones. I've been hit way harder, and it's just, man, I applaud the kid for getting up there, but he just didn't have what it takes, man, to put me on my ass. So.
Awesome. I was actually just thinking about it. It is actually a pretty iconic way for you to be introduced on Slap News for the first time, having the bell, having Wolverine there, talk about your match. That, I think you look back later on and that'll be pretty special for you. I'm glad we were able to make that happen.
Absolutely, man. Things are still unreal to me, man. So I'm still excited about everything, man.
Awesome. So you talked about your desire to go down light heavy, but you said that you were at 260 and then you stopped it along that way. So where are you at right now? Are you still trying to walk around lighter every day so you can make that 205? Because you seem to be a bigger guy.
Yeah, well, right now I just weighed myself yesterday actually, and I'm sitting right at 230, and we've been back and forth, me and the fiance, to the children's hospital here, and we just found out that our youngest has leukemia, and so everything's been set to the side for right now as far as that goes. But I would like to drop down to light heavy, and see what I can do there, man. I just had to put life on pause for a second, and but we'll work towards it, most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, our deepest condolences. Obviously that is a very, very traumatic thing going through your family. We wish you guys the absolute very best. Are you guys doing a GoFundMe? I believe I seen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, talk about that.
Well, basically, man, I just moved back to California not too long ago from Colorado, and so I'm no longer working at the mental hospital there. I'm just basically doing some side work right now just to make ends meet. However, it's been going on over a month now that we've been back and forth to Madera's Children's Hospital, and it's just, they're still trying to find a correct diagnosis. They do know it's leukemia. They just don't know what kind of leukemia. So he's undergoing bone marrow biopsies, even skin biopsies to see if it's growing under the skin, everything like that. So, just procedures and everything, the cost of going and missing work and not being able to make money right now, man. So we put one on just to help with us getting back and forth, and it's been tough right now on the pocketbook. So, that's kind of why I threw it up. I mean, time gets hard right now. Times are hard right now.
Well, sure. Where can people go to help?
There is a link in my bio on my Instagram, and it is posted right there. So it should pop up to GoFundMe. Absolutely.
Awesome. Ding. Any parting words?
Yeah, man. I mean, like Corey said, I echo that, man. I have children myself, and my heart goes out to you and your family, and Cash, of course.
Appreciate that.
I think if you, I don't know if you've seen or heard in the past, but you're in the right community. There's been some people who've rallied around, families and things like that in Power Slap that have made a difference. So I'm certain that you'll be embraced, and we'll get this out to everybody that we can, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate you guys. Much love, brothers.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Man, what a guy.
Yeah, I mean, great guy. Took everything like a champ. I was actually thinking back. I was like, man, giving the suggestion of dropping on light heavy when the guy just had his biggest moment on TV. But I mean, he took it great. Obviously, Wolverine, kind of paved the way for that. And, so it's great to see sitting around that 230 mark. I think he's definitely within striking range. Obviously, we've seen that he still had some weight that he could have lost on the show. But what a big drop, from 260 down to 228.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I think it shows that he can be a bigger guy, which means it would make sense for him at heavyweight. Obviously, he said he didn't go past that kind of 228 mark. So, maybe he's in a situation like a guy like Delvin Hamlet where they just can't make it down there. They're close, but something that they're doing, maybe not having experience with the weight cutting, it could be one of those kind of phenomena. But I know we got another guy here who had a pretty nice character, on the show. Stevie Ray Ellis. What's up, buddy? Hold on one second.
Stevie Ray, can you hear us, man?
Yeah. Unmute yourself, brother.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how you guys doing?
I like the sunglasses, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Keeping it just like the show. I do want to point out again, breaking the fourth wall here. Excuse me. I saw you in backstage playing with your daughter. I thought it was the most incredible thing ever. It was very, very wholesome.
Awesome.
Just kind of. I saw you with the dog. You were attacking yourself, whatever, the bear. It was hilarious, man. What does it mean to you to be able to go up there and your kids? I mean, they're younger, but as they get older, right? This is the internet now. It's out there. What does it mean to you as a father to have? I mean, you have a daughter, and so that's a little bit of a tougher one because it's kind of violent, but. What does it mean to you to be able to do that and kind of for her to be able to see that in your other child?
Oh man, it's a big motivator for me, man. But it feels amazing. As being someone that grew up with with just a mother, My mother was a single mother raising me. It's pretty cool, that I get to be this kind of dad to my kids. I didn't have a dad, growing up kind of like that. So I guess that's why I make up for it. It's like an everyday thing. Always playing with toys, running through the house. I fall down the stairs a lot, man. We're trying to get a house that's like a 1-story, because every time I get playing with my kids, I'm always falling down the stairs. So yeah.
Yeah, could I real quick before we go on? Would I be able to get you to turn your camera sideways?
Yeah,
That way
yeah.
we fill up the screen. Is that possible at all?
Yeah. Let me see.
Let's see if I'm. There you go, perfect, man. Like we like to see if we can get the screen filled with you. Obviously, we want to see the big guns you got going on the sides
Nice.
there. Cord, do you want to start with anything before I don't want to steal your thunder?
Absolutely. Stevie Ray, I mean, I think you guys set the record for the most swear words on any episode of any match. Both you
really?
guys, I think so.
Oh my gosh. You know what I was thinking? They cut a lot of there was a lot more footage that we gave them, man. Believe it or not, you guys got like a shorter version of what went down there on that day.
Awesome, man. I mean, let's talk about it, because I actually think you guys, we've always talked about Power Slap being somewhere between WWE on the left and UFC on the right. I think between you guys both brought a personality out that was much more similar to wrestling in WWE. You must be a huge wrestling fan, because I mean, you brought a character that we really haven't seen yet.
Man, yeah, ever since I was a kid, man, big fan. The Attitude Era is, kind of like my generation, so suck it, TX. I'm actually a big fan of, Mr. Ass and, the Acclaimed Scissor Me. But I agree with you guys. That's kind of like what I saw. I was a big fan of this Power Slap thing when season 1 happened. And when I saw it, the characters from the first season, the second season as well, the guys were amazing. So not taking away anything from the guys on the previous seasons, but what I saw with myself was, like you guys said, bringing an extreme character, something that Power Slap hasn't seen before. Mm-hmm. And I intend to bring that freak out, every time I get up to the podium. Coin toss, win or loss. I got the chin to win, baby.
Great slogan, my man. I mean, you're up there for the face-off. You're looking into Brandon's eyes. Do you think that energy that he was giving you, was that naturally him, or was he putting on a persona? Oh man,
I felt like it was a little bit of both. A little bit of persona, a little bit natural. It was his first time, I think, doing some combat competition, so he had the jitters. And I said before, I've competed, on an amateur level, no pro or nothing. But so I've kind of like, I felt that those jitters before, so it wasn't nothing new to me. Yeah. But he definitely fed, my energy. I fed off of him, man. It was, he was a good dance partner.
I mean, having Austin Turpin in your corner, I think in a lot of ways you're probably following his footsteps about building out a persona. Having you two up there is definitely something to behold.
Man, we was like the Undertaker and Kane or something, right? Man.
Absolutely. We're going to get Ding to play the footage. I want to talk through the fight with you, all right?
There you go.
So there's going to be no volume, so we'll be able to talk over. So you've got great confidence in this one coming up, and you're receiving it first. What's kind of going through your mind at this point?
Man, that was a big thing. I didn't know, we didn't know who won that coin toss prior to getting up to the stage. I found out right then and there. And, I was kind of prepared to not win a coin toss. There's an old saying I kind of go by, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. So, hey, when they said, hey, I'm getting slapped first, I said, hey, what the hell? Let's do it.
Look at that emotion. Like, you receive it. Is that just all that energy coming out?
Oh man, I've always been this. Ever since I was little, here in where I'm from, man, I kind of never fit in. I've always felt that way. I'm sure all of us do. At some point in our life, so you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. I don't know if you do. But yeah, I've kind of felt like I've never fit in. In my hometown around people. But then man, when I set foot in Vegas for this show, oh man, I felt like, man, people, it was accepted, man. And then the testosterone that was in the air at the hotel, man, it was like Mortal Kombat, dude. And it was fun, man. You know, I'm a real, you guys, I hope you guys understand, I'm a real family man. I'm a hardworking guy. I work 60 hours a week. You know, I'm always around my kids. Me and my wife are always together. So being out there away from the kids and my wife was a real, you know, it was a big mind fuck, you know, because you know, I've never been in the military, you know, I've never been to jail, you know, thank God, you know, and that being said, you know, it was like, you know, that's my real team right there. So when I was kind of out of that element, you know, I think I adapted pretty well, you know, and it was pretty fun, you know, being around the other warriors of Power Slap. And so like I said, I think I was feeding off of all the energy that was just around, man. It was definitely an awesome experience. It was something else, man.
Yeah. Talk to me about the flinching issues that Brandon had here. Did you know in the time that it was flinching?
Okay, yeah. So when I was up there, the adrenaline was going so hard, man. The first time, no. I didn't think he flinched. You know, I thought I had my eye on him pretty good when I laid my strike on him. And when they made me aware that he had flinched, you know, and they asked me if I wanted to take the second shot. I said, hell yeah, I'll take a second shot. You know, you don't got to tell me twice.
Yeah, I mean, both times. I mean, you kind of missed by a country mile. Probably some of the biggest, you know, misses that we've seen with how deep it was on the neck. So looking back, we see obviously we are seeing that movement. He's been called on it twice now. You know, do you think was there a greater chance of actually hurting yourself by missing the target like that?
Yeah, I actually did. You know, on the first strike, you know, and then watching the show, watching a replay of it on the show, on the first strike, you know, I know I hyperextended my elbow pretty good, you know, because it was funny for a few weeks afterwards, you know, after that match.
I mean, that strike there in round 2, you couldn't have been happy with. Almost kind of grazed the chin and kind of obviously turned your hand underneath.
Yeah. And
How did it feel?
I felt like I was digging enough power in, you know, and watching it back, you know, I kind of, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but, you know, I kind of felt like I was getting a little bit of power in on him, and I would have had enough to put him out had he not have flinched, you know, but who knows?
How, like, do you remember this entire match? Because you seem to be very coherent and reactionary to every single thing that's taken place.
You know, watching it back, it was a lot longer than it seemed when I was there actually in the match. You know, it went by really quick, and some of the things I didn't remember sticking my tongue out. You know, and I didn't remember telling them that. You know, I thought you were gonna knock me out. I totally don't remember that part. And so yeah, but yeah, it was just the adrenaline I had going through me was, man, it was something else. It was definitely kind of like the Incredible Hulk, something like that, you know, Marvel character, you know.
That's awesome. I actually think it's funny that even the ref called him out for flinching on that one.
Oh man, we had that referee going all types of crazy up in there. You know, he's a good guy, man. That referee is an awesome dude. You know, all those guys up there, man, because they were having to put up with me and Brandon shit. You know, it was wild, dude. So hats off to those guys. Those are the real heroes here.
Yeah, Ding, take the lead.
So did you hear his comments after the fight? We obviously we can't play him here because of copyright, but he basically said he doesn't think you won that fight, and he was really upset about it. Like, I mean, he said he only flinched one. He thought he only flinched one time. I think it was pretty clear. I mean, you know, what are your initial thoughts on that response?
You know, well, first of all, fair and square. You know, like you said, we all saw the replays. You know, so that's my win because of that. You know, but as far as if that didn't happen, you know, I wasn't gonna go down. And man, you know, I'm not gonna be the one to say. So I don't know if I maybe I would have got it by decision. Maybe I wouldn't have. I know I wasn't gonna go down though. He didn't hit me that hard. So rock and roll.
And then Corey touched on it earlier with the kind of the arm, right? When I first saw the strike and after the flinch, I'm like, well, that's gotta hurt because you you kind of made a connection with this part of your palm, and the rest of your hand kind of went around his head. I mean, are you concerned now that happened a few times? Do you feel like that kind of is going to play in your mind as you continue? Obviously, we don't know what happens in the second round. We don't want to know at the moment, but did that? Do you feel like subconsciously you were kind of like, shit, I gotta change something, because if they move, I'm going to really mess myself up based on the fact that this guy did it 3 times in your match?
No, that's definitely a big factor. I think there's been guys out there that have had hand injuries because of that issue. And, and you want to be 100% when you go into your match. You want to be able to, you want to get out of there with the W. At the end of the day, this is a game. We all want to win. We don't want to be losers here. So, no, that's definitely was in my mind there. It happening again and maybe further extending an injury.
Yeah, and then what's your ethnic background?
Ethnic background. Half Caucasian. I'm half Hispanic. Born and raised in San Antonio, Texas.
What kind of Hispanic?
I would say, I guess the Tex-Mexican kind. My dad was born here, and I think his mom, my grandmother, was born in Mexico.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, because I 1, you're from Texas. 2, just the aura, and so you become another guy now, along with Azael, that represents the Mexican heritage. We actually talked about it yesterday on our live show yesterday about being the Mexican heritage is really deeply ingrained in boxing. Particularly, we haven't seen a ton of it in power slap, so it's exciting to see more guys. Like I said, Azael's kind of been the poster boy for it. Somebody that
He's an awesome dude, by the way. Azael's a good guy, man.
He was on our show yesterday also, and so it's really cool to see kind of that Mexican heritage come, especially with that fighting spirit, and of course the toughness, the classic toughness. I know Dana's pretty high on the the Mexican heritage as a whole.
Awesome, yeah.
You went up there. You went up there with no shoes. What you talked about season 1? Did you get that from anybody, or what was the thought process behind that?
Oh yeah, that's a big shout out to Darius, the Destroyer. Yeah. So yeah, when I saw season 1, I definitely saw Darius get down that way. So there was a last minute thing. I was actually gonna wear shoes, but the shoes I had were. Man, it's a long story, man, but I had some stupid ass shoes when I was at the Apex. So I was like, damn, I don't feel like I can get enough power, And so I just decided last minute, we're gonna go barefoot out there. And and Darius was a big influence for that, especially for it being like a last minute thing. But it wasn't like really pre-planned until the day of the fight. But again, I am gonna go out barefoot. That's actually now my thing.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question. Good stuff. And then final one for me. We talked about earlier kind of Brandon's energy. Even in the face-off, he's like, if you touch me, I'll beat you up or whatever it was. Did you guys have a problem? Is there something we missed in the house that maybe wasn't shown? Or was that really just him psyching himself up? Because it really felt like this guy did not like you.
Yeah, it was. So we were the qualifiers, and we were at a hotel. So so we kind of had it a little bit better than some of those other guys. In the beginning, and this dude, man, at the hotel, he was going wild, dude, over there, man. Like everybody's trying to cut weight, so it's already irritating enough as it is. And then this dude, like, he was pissed off that he didn't get in the house right away. I'm sure y'all heard him bitching about that. And we had to share a few saunas because there wasn't enough saunas for all the fighters. So this dude's here banging on doors, screaming for, who's got the fucking saunas? Who got? And you know what he does, man? He's got an accent that he hides, man. The way he talks, man, like it's pretty cool. It's amazing. Next time y'all talk to Brandon, ask him about the accent thing.
We can hear it on the show because when he was talking to you on stage, he didn't have an accent. But when he was introducing himself, saying that he was from Scotland, it was all over.
Man, that shit is amazing, dude. You gotta see it, dude. He's like an actor or something.
I was just gonna say that. That's good.
Yeah, he was getting down like that. He was all bitching, Yeah, exactly. There you go. He wasn't getting his Johnny Depp treatment or something, and yeah, man, it was funny, man. I got along with some of the older cats in the production, and we were laughing at that kid, man. because he's a young guy, man. He's got a bright future. I mean, I'm 33, now 32. Excuse me. I shouldn't make myself that old, but I'm getting up there. I'm having my fun now. I still got some fight in me. I'm an OG with a little bit of fight. And but yeah, Brandon, dude, man, that kid is fucking funny, dude. When he gets mad, he does this fucking thing with his hair. I don't know if y'all saw that shit too, but man, we was laughing at the guy, man. But no, I don't take nothing he says seriously. You know, yeah. And if he wants to go a rematch, you know, I'm ready to run that back 185 or 170.
Awesome, Stevie. You know what, man? I like you, dude. I like the personality. I like the
Thank
skill
you guys,
set.
man. I hope I
like
don't come off as an asshole, man. You know, I'll always be kind to you
Dude.
guys, man.
Nah,
Dude,
yeah. I think you're
don't ever
hilarious.
change.
Yeah, I
No,
think you're
I'm being
hilarious.
genuine, dude. Don't ever change what you're doing, my man, because I like it.
Thank you.
You're giving me Slambo vibes, which I like. I think the Mexican stuff is good shit.
Thank you, brother.
You know what? I know Alan Klingbeil was on the show with you. If you don't know him, I'll introduce you to him. I think you and him should be training every day right now, man, because he's in San Antonio as well. So if you need me to make a connection for you, let me know. Just send us a DM. I'll make that connect for you because I think you can do great things, my man. And if you can drop down to
Nice,
170, man, even better, dude. So
Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and having me on the show, man. You guys are awesome, dude.
awesome. Take care, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, brother. Cheers.
Ding,
What a
Brett,
crowd this week, man.
dude. So I know we jumped.
Told
We
the guy on
jumped
live
over.
air that you like him. That's impressive, dude.
What do
You
you mean?
never even told me
Come
you
on.
like meat. Not even privately.
Well, because we've never clarified if that's even the case, my man.
Let's go. Let's go. It's cool. But I do have you on live saying you like balls. So
But let's talk about Brandon Kerr for a second. Toronto, another Canadian from Scotland, however, talked about being on the Vancouver Whitecaps. You know, I haven't been able to verify if that's the case, but if that's the case, that's big time. Like
What is
Whitecaps,
that? What is that?
It's the MLS. It's the highest North American league. So the same league that Messi's playing in right now. You know, the New York Red Bull, I'm sure you know in your neck of the wood, LA Galaxy, which David Beckham played, obviously here in Los Angeles, where I'm at right now. But that's big time. That's as big as it gets in North America. So if you made it there, I mean, that's big. That's big. Accolades. You know, there's bajillion kids playing soccer, and for you to be able to make a professional team like that, is no small feat. So he must have been one hell of an athlete to be able to
maybe
climb
that's
up those
where
ranks.
maybe that's where the chip on the shoulder came from. Because I was intrigued when he said he was upset that he didn't make it into the house right away. I was like, well, what would make you like? Why would you make it in the house right away? I mean, granted, the selection process was we don't know what it was. What was the basis for? Oh, you go in the house, you don't.
Totally.
But at the same time, I mean, why would anyone who doesn't have any experience feel entitled to go into the house? That was puzzling. I liked him too, though. I thought his energy was good. He seems like a mad fucking guy. Like he just seems like he's on angry at all times.
Yeah.
You know, but I could see a guy like Stevie Ray pissing a serious guy off because he's so playful and so goofy.
Yeah, I agree, man. But drop down to 170, man. If that cat can go down to 170, I think he can climb the ranks pretty quick. And you know what? I think the more that the people see of him, I think the more they'll like him. He definitely has an edge. And I don't think I think that persona that you're seeing is probably not too far off from how he is on a daily basis. He
100%.
definitely has a lot of passion in the
100%.
way that he speaks. So
I could see the Mexican in him, bro. I knew it. I don't want to lead anybody into anything, but I could see it. I mean, I was stationed in San Antonio, so it definitely good to see. I'm sure Azrael's happy again. That it just to me it makes sense. That representation has to come at some point, just being the lineage and the heritage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm pretty sure Darius is Mexican too, is he not?
Beats me. Mata Verona, I mean,
sure.
probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So obviously,
but he's as American as they come, man. Come on, just listen to the guy speaks. He sounds like a fucking college white guy. Like it's perfect.
So, all right, man. Let's get in the last match of the night.
All right, let's pull this up. So we got Josh Newson, Fabricio Berrum, at 85. Newson joins John Davis as he's an Army veteran. John Davis is in the Marines, but he was a combat instructor. I was intrigued by this military police. I thought for that reason the guy would do fine. I would have loved to talk to him. He was supposed to come on, but unfortunately he got called into work. Did you see that windup? What is that? Like that is such an interesting one. Like he places his hand and then he speeds it up and then comes and smacks you. It was very interesting, his windup.
Was almost trying to catch him off
Guard.
off clinch or off guard per se, trying to kind of time it a little bit differently.
Yeah, it wasn't even. But again, I mean, Easter strike looks good. That's in the rule set though. Your windup has to match your strike. I don't think they really enforce that much. But even a guy like Brandon Kerr, we didn't talk about it because we were talking to Stevie, but his windup was weird too. He did like a closing the airplane door kind of windup. It was weird. And then his strike wasn't like that.
It's actually not so much different. They actually have very similar strikes between Brandon and Josh here.
If that's not clubbing, nothing is. I don't know that I agree with that. I don't think that this is like the most egregious clubbing foul I've ever seen, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe his hand was rotated a little too much, but I don't know. I don't know what Dana was seeing.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, we don't get all the angles, so it's difficult to tell. Obviously, it happens pretty quick. We don't even get to see the follow through of the strike every single time. But they called it, so we'll take that at face value for what it is. Fabricio here seems to be a little outmatched at this point. I think. It's great to see that the guy has some confidence, but he doesn't seem to be able to get a lot on that strike. We see him online working hard. We see him in the gym. We see him getting his diet right. But obviously at this particular point, I think we're seeing some inexperience, being able to translate some of that power. He seems almost too much upright. I'd like to see him kind of be able to generate more power through his, the bottom half of his body just seems to be all kind of upper body and in that arm and not really being able to transfer it through from left to right, or sorry, right to left.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about it on the show. He just looks outgunned here. Obviously, the accumulation here gets him on the third strike. But I'd like to see a guy like this go to 170.
I mean, good chin though, man. I mean, he went through 2 rounds, with a club, and he gets up here. I mean, the dude's got a chin on him.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just think he just didn't have enough on his strikes. Maybe you see him against somebody else and see how he does, but I think a guy like that, he looks like he can make 170. You probably have better luck. Just give him the reaction from a guy like Josh, who's also inexperienced. It's not like he's fighting a veteran here.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an interesting one. He takes a big deep breath, puffs his chest out, and then that was a little bit of a movement.
Yeah, that was flinch for sure. Yeah.
Does this get called? I don't remember.
It did, yeah.
Okay, so he
hits him again. He's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, overall, he took the strikes pretty well. I think, like everybody's always said, the flinching is kind of seems like it's par for the course in their first fight.
Mm-hmm.
But he does this every time. You see it, he takes that deep breath and then he clenches up and kind of grimaces. Interesting technique, could backfire for sure. We've seen it. I almost think he flinched again there, if I'm being honest.
Well, I was gonna say, that was neck. If it wasn't a flinch, was it a club that went missing for sure? Because I think that one. If let's say if it wasn't a flinch, that was more of an egregious club than Josh's second round strike.
Yeah, he's telegraphing. Like I said, I mean, he's doing that big deep breath in, and his chest is moving. It's not like it's a subtle thing. I think that's probably gonna have some. And then when he bites down like that. When you tense your body up, it's almost impossible for you not to move at least a little bit. So I think, part of that is that strategy.
Do you think that's the first time that the refs have seen that type of movement, just from where it's coming? You're talking about it coming from the chest in that particular way. Do you think that's something that might get called in the future?
Yeah, because I mean, you move, man. It's pretty simple to see when he goes like this, makes a big chest movement, then stops and then goes right. Inevitably, your face, your head, and that leveling moves, and so that's a problem for the striker who's now measured. The other thing that's interesting that I don't think we've ever really talked about is the option of the measure, right? I know for sure. Chris Townley says you must measure. Always, he says. He says, right on one, you must measure, right? But then there's other referees that are giving them an option. 2 things. Unless your name Slap Jesus, I don't know why you wouldn't measure. Because that was just those memes are just too good, bro. Him going, and then just fucking those are just great. Or yeah. But the second thing is what's the rule? Do you have to measure? Do you not have to measure? Because those are two different things. You can look at it. I can hear him in my head right now as I'm saying it. He 100% says, right on one, you must measure. That's your measure, right? But then you hear, I think it was Jason Herzog. He said, do you want to, right on one, measure or no measure? Like, so I think that we need some clarity there. I think, I don't know why you wouldn't measure, to be honest with you. I think everybody should measure. Doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't. But if if you choose, the fact that you have a choice not to is very interesting to me. And I'd be interested to hear what probably all the strikers, will ask.
Yeah, and that's why Slap Jesus will always be legendary.
Bro, he's amazing. That and the prostitute.
For sure.
If you haven't seen that, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Now you got to go looking for it. It's on Slap News.
Go back, sort to the oldest interviews, watch the first ever Slap Jesus interview. Best interview on this show to date happened at pre-Power Slap #1. It's still legendary. I'll definitely say that. We talked a little bit earlier with Damien DeBell, obviously the heavyweight champion, Ron Wolverine Beta, former heavyweight and current light heavyweight champion. We talked about slap score and him saying that they don't think it's actually the best. So if we look at it, Blake Howard had quite a significant slap score advantage. Just going quickly, about 80 points higher. We've seen Josh Newsome have about 115 points higher in the victory. And then the only anomaly here was Stevie Ray Ellis. And I'll probably make that mistake more than once. Was actually at a deficit. He was going in there about 120 less. So we see a guy like Stevie, they talked about that chin factor potentially playing into it, but we do have him as the underdog on the slap score coming out with the victory.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on how they aggregate it. I think I agree with the fellas in that the power is probably the most important. I know the logic is that if your neck doesn't move because of its ability to absorb, that you would have less trauma, but I don't think that that's correct because the trauma is all internal. The movement of the brain is all internal, on bouncing off your head, your skull. So I don't know that turning your head changes that much, right? Or the ability to keep your head there. It's still the internal stuff. So I don't know that neck, the whole neck thing really has a ton of merit to it. I really just think you either got it or you don't. It's that simple. Like I don't believe that metric means anything at all. I may catch some shit for saying that, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think you probably will. I think you'll be made into the meme of the week again.
Yeah, it really hurts my feelings when I made it to a meme, bro. No, please.
That's when you made it, when people are making memes of you, dude.
That's facts.
But the reason why I say that's different, man, is like look at Lane and Dane, just that neck strength, next level. We talked. Danny Van Heerden talked about hitting him. Dwayne Crespo wasn't able to turn Dane's neck. Like there's got to be something there at the upper echelon of it definitely playing into the overall factor. Do we know how that really lies? Not too sure. But, Josh Newsome, where do we think he sits right now in that middleweight division? Like, I mean, there's some OG cats there. You guys like Wesley Drain, you guys like Isaiah Quiones, even Static, for example. Like, do you think he's kind of the bottom half of that top 10?
Yeah, definitely. I think off of that performance itself, yeah, I think so. I think, like I said, he looked bigger, he looked stronger, but we didn't necessarily see it. It took him to the third strike to actually get the guy. His wind-up's interesting. Maybe some more experience, and he'll. I think we have to see another fight because you never really know if it's Fabricio's chin or if it's Josh's, power or lack of power that caused that performance. So I think round 2 will really tell us a lot more about the guy. Obviously, I'm going to be high on military veterans because I'm partial to him. I know if this guy was military police, I know he's been OC sprayed. For anybody who's been OC sprayed, it is fucking terrible. I would highly discourage it. So I think that, and I would love if when you interview him, if you ask him that question, if getting sprayed in the face by bear mace prepared him for this moment, because it is fucking awful. I'd rather get slapped a million times.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of these guys come in. I mean, we talk about guys dropping down, not just on the show, but even outside of the show. it's seeming like a lot of these guys, their natural weights are down. I mean, we spoke to some of the lightweights, and they talked about putting on weight to make that 155. It's seemingly like some of these guys like Blake, like we talked about, drop down light heavy. I mean, I think a guy like Josh Newsome potentially could even drop down to, drop down to 170. Might be a better, spot for him, because he does, obviously he was carrying more muscle mass, but he does seem to be pretty, slender in terms of his build. And so maybe him dropping down to 170. And I mean, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I don't want to take away from, the first time that these guys are up there. But, when we were talking about getting in that top 10, talking about going on a run for a title, like, the best of the best, the cream of the crop rises to the top. And, we're seeing guys kind of fit into that. And where if they fit into that realm by putting that extra work in, dropping down, taking, the muscle mass that they've accumulated, they're able definitely to, continue to make positive impacts. I mean, pretty much everybody I think that has dropped down, and it's, looking back, Isaiah, Static, Ron, Emmanuel Munez, like all these guys came down and had instant success, in a lot of ways. And so, I think we're going to see more of that, kind of happen and transpire. And, let's circle back. I mean, do you have the matchups that are coming up for next week? Do you have those on hand?
You're putting me on the spot. I do not.
Oh, good. But, James Stonier, Cody Harasnik, two people that are friends of the show. Obviously, these two guys as being a fight in match. Like, isn't that crazy? We looked at season 2. Joe Landman, guys like that who had experience, got a bye through the first round. They're making these guys come and fight their way into the house. What does that say?
I mean, we haven't seen we haven't seen a ton from Cody. And Stonier hasn't had the greatest success since his initial fight. So I think maybe that's probably, again, I don't understand what the selection process was this time around. I'm still kind of confused on that. How guys got straight into the house and some guys didn't. I understand, obviously, for the lightweight tournament, it makes sense. But even for these guys who just fought at middleweight, Brandon Kerr was upset. Like, what about the guys that made it, like the Devin Helms, the Bryce Jones? Like, why were they in the house automatically, right? I even think Brandon Rhodes went straight into the house. Like, I'm still really confused on how that all, transpired. But I think you have to be real with yourself about where you're at in the sport. And like I said, Stonier just didn't have the same it's not luck, the same ability to perform after, that initial fight. So I just think it was an opportunity for him to redeem himself. Of course, if that fight does not go his way, then he doesn't redeem himself. So I guess we'll see. But I was able, because I'm the greatest ever, of course, I was able to get this, and I'm going to mute it so we don't get copywritten, but I was able to get this. So I'll get these next fights really quick.
So you were able to get through it, and you're also able to get through the double ad on Rumble in real time.
Yeah. That's how I was tuning you out, actually.
Awesome, man.
So we've got, obviously we saw, you said Stonier. So this is, I believe this is a welterweight fight, if I'm not mistaken. I started to write these names down. Let me see what I got here. Wow, Tyler Gross, I recognize him. And then, of course, you've got Stonier and Cody. Or as they call him, the Big Bird?
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, so let's talk about it. Coming up the rest of this week, we're going to have interviews with the winners. We're going to keep breaking it down. We appreciate it. All you guys that stayed to this point, we're an hour in. If you guys are here, you guys are truly champions. We appreciate every single one of you, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Facebook, X, or Rumble. We're going to have, like I said, on Thursday, Friday, we're going to have interviews dropping with the winners. And we will be back here again for a live show next Tuesday, Smack Talk, 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 p.m. in the East. I will be traveling again. I'll be in Las Vegas. Ding will be in New York. But we're going to keep on working hard to bring you guys. Life happens. But the one thing that you can be assured, Slap News is going to be here. We're going to be that resource for you. We keep coming back every single week. And, we appreciate everything that you guys do. All the likes, all the follows, all the comments, all the interactions, the DMs, you guys sharing our content however you can. All the guys that like our collabs, we appreciate you all. And Ding, the parting words to you this time, my man. What do you want to say to the supporters that listen to your big bald head all the way an hour in?
Dude, why's it got to be that? Like, why can't it just be Ding? What do you want to say to all the people that support you because you give Slap News your best all the time, bro? While I'm sitting here going fucking around the world in 180 days, you're holding it down, Ding. No, we appreciate you guys. Honestly, obviously our shows are getting more and more packed. We really want to try and make these as meaningful as possible. So feedback's important. We have a ton of content and clips to come out to you guys that you'll see. We had Azael, the crazy Hawaiian, on our show yesterday. We had Daamo DeBell, Wolverine, with no beard for the first time that we've ever seen in Power Slap. On today, we also had Blake Howard, who just won by knockout. Then we also had Stevie Ray Ellis, who's, as big a personality as they come. Again, we also had Josh Newson lined up, but unfortunately that didn't work out. Those interviews will be coming out. It's not going to stop. We're going to keep on going, and we appreciate you guys tuning in, engaging us, writing comments. Even the people who fucking make remixes of me and all that shit. It's all good. It doesn't bother me one bit. I appreciate it. It's flattering, to say the least. But you should fuck with Corey every once in a while. I will say that, because I sure do. But until next time, we'll see you guys in the next one.